Imagine you working at a local gym, training unmotivated clients who constantly complain. You're picking up all their weights, they're sweating all over the equipment because they never put anything back, and they smell like shit. Worst of all, you have to clean up after them and pretend like you're enjoying yourself. You single-handedly turn around a gym from failure to success. On top of that, you're the top 5 salesman for the company, taking on more responsibilities than in your job description. I'm talking about doing the things that managers do and not even getting paid for them, like hiring people, managing the gym, but getting paid peanuts. Your boss keeps telling you, keep grinding and you'll get a raise. Basically being fully manipulated is the way that it felt. It felt like I was being manipulated. Then all of a sudden, you get fired. After all the dedication, you're dead broke, living with your mom, you got rent coming up, and you don't know what to do with your life. You somehow discover this thing called online fitness coaching, and fast forward a few years, you are a millionaire in your 20s. That is exactly what happened to me. And in this video, I'm going to be going over all the steps that got me to where I am today. You have to understand, I was never that kid that your parents would say has a bright future. In fact, I had all odds stacked against me. I did 3 years in jail due to a terrible drug addiction, which led me in one of the darkest places of my life. I was living a criminal lifestyle and doing pretty much everything you're not supposed to be doing. So I was never that kid hustling in middle school or high school, getting praises and good grades, or the star on the football team. In fact, there were a lot of things wrong with my life. I was struggling with addiction, living in my mother's room, barely even able to afford rent. When I had sobered up from going to jail for 3 years, my mom allowed for me to come back. And that's when I got a job at LA Fitness. But I hated my life and I wasn't really sure where to take it. You know, a convict pretty much has all odds stacked against them. They don't have any opportunities, nobody wants to hire them, and they can't be trusted. So when I got fired from LA Fitness because I requested a higher position required a background check. Super weird. They don't request one at first when you first get started, but because of the background check, I was fired after single-handedly turning around a gym by myself. I was hiring people, I was doing all the sales, I was basically running a whole entire LA Fitness location by myself. I was left with a huge reality check. I felt so manipulated, and I saw all these people online making a ton of money and living this crazy lifestyle that I always had dreamt of. Yet, it felt so far away. And after being manipulated from LA Fitness, I felt a little bit discouraged and a lot of it like I didn't have hope for myself. But all I knew is that I had to make a change in my life, that I could never let a job control me or just fire me on the spot. So with the last few dollars in my bank account, I hired a business coach, a business guru, as some of you guys may call them. A lot of people are afraid of this, and I was too. But I knew that I had a good physique. I knew that I knew how to train people, and I knew that I actually gave a shit about helping people transform their physiques. And I kind of knew what online fitness coaching was at the time, like I was sending out diets and little things here and there for 97 bucks. But at the end of the day, I was extremely lost, just like many of you watching this who may have your own valid skepticisms and fears. I still chose to move forward and have the courage to hire that business coach, which turned out to be the single best decision of my life. This was that turning point. This was that catapult to me having financial freedom and success. Now, within my first 30 days of starting online coaching, and this is a bit of a unicorn number, I don't want you to get discouraged. Most people aren't going to do what I did, but I made $10,000 in my first 30 days. It felt surreal. It even feels surreal probably to many of you guys watching this, because my life completely changed forever. You know, when I first got on my first 10 sales calls, I didn't close anybody. But when I did finally close someone, I knew that there was something there. I knew this was something magical. And I felt like it was I was like, this must be illegal. But if it wasn't for the worst moment in my life, I probably would still be lifting up people's weights, putting their stuff back and in some shitty gym somewhere, because I love fitness and it's pretty much the only thing I knew at the time. So in hindsight, I actually got very lucky that I was around the right people, and then I got fired because it was that catalyst for success. Most people starting out in the industry don't have a shitty situation that made me overlook all the mental challenges that most people starting out have to overcome. I was lucky enough to avoid the fear of starting and trying something new because I had already failed pretty much my whole life, from school, drug addiction, to being a good son. I had pretty much struggled my entire life trying to figure out everything out on my own, and thinking that my ways would work. I was trying to navigate the bullshit everyone shares online, probably like many of you, and even the limiting belief that the market is too saturated to make it work. Let's get right to the part where you hire a coach, which saved me 3 years of trial and error. The reality is that you probably have it better off than I did. Most of you guys didn't go through a terrible drug addiction, 3 years of jail, and pretty much getting your ass whooped your whole entire life. However, this was a positive notion for me. This actually was an advantage compared to you, because what I discovered is that there are really just 3 things that separate trainers who stay broke from those who build multiple million-dollar businesses. The first thing is the right business model. First, you need to understand that online fitness coaching isn't just in-person training moved to Zoom. That would be a recipe for staying broke forever. You're just doing the same thing in an online presence. The only difference is you wouldn't have to drive to the gym. The real money comes from a scalable model where you're not trading your hours for dollars. We can wake up and your Stripe account and your bank account goes up. This means medium ticket coaching packages, not $50 one-off sessions. When I figured this out, I immediately switched to 12-week packages at $1,000 minimum. And as I mentioned, yes, I get it. It sounds like a lot to you trainers who are charging $50 and only getting $25 out of it. However, it took me 10 sales calls to try this, to fail, and finally get my first close. And then I knew that moment, that was my epiphany light bulb moment. So my income instantly tripled while I worked fewer hours. Most trainers are scared out of their pants to charge these rates. I get it, so was I. They think that no one will pay. But the crazy part is people will happily pay premium prices for premium experiences. In fact, most of them prefer it. If you say a lower price, they start to criticize and start to be skeptical about why it's so low. If you could deliver so much value in such an epic transformation, why are you charging so low for it? That's like me telling you I can make you $1 million and guarantee it, but only for 50 bucks. Wouldn't make sense, right? So the problem is your price, it's your limiting beliefs. Second is you need a content system that actually converts followers into clients. I know so many people who have hundreds of thousands of followers, but don't match that in their bank account. And I wasted months on end posting random workout videos, selfie pictures, and they got a lot of likes, but signed 0 clients. The breakthrough came when I started focusing on 3 specific types of content. That first specific type of content was proof content, showing transformations of my clients and my students, before and after pictures. Second type of content was value content, which is solving specific problems. And the third type of content is connection content, which was telling my story, kind of like what I'm doing here. Right? So I would tell my whole audience about me going to jail, about me being overweight, and all those dark challenges. But content alone doesn't make sales. You need a direct response mechanism, we call it. So once again, you might see a lot of creators out there and coaches who have tons of followers, tons of likes, but are making $0, which is where I created a simple Instagram DM system that generated 5 to 10 sales calls every single week. This was the real sauce. This was the real game changer. One post plus strategic DMs equaled $3,000 to $5,000 in new business. No complex funnels needed, no website, no fancy tech. Click the link in the description of this video to learn exactly how I did that. Finally, you need a sales process that actually works. And I'll be honest with you, the stuff that I used to do back in 2019 no longer works now. You got to stay up to date with the way people react. Most trainers try to sell through text or through DMs, and this is a sure, fast way to fail. That's why they stay broke. High ticket sales, they need to be happening on calls or Zoom. Period. When people are spending a lot of money, they want a conversation and they have to have trust with you. Really hard to build trust just through the DMs alone. So I developed a 7-step sales framework that converted 40 to 50% of calls into high-paying customers. This is why you don't need 100,000 followers to make money, because when you're charging $1,500 per client, you only need 1 to 2 clients per week to hit $10,000 months. So it's not rocket science. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to figure this stuff out. You just need a small crew of committed clients who are willing to work with you, who trust you. You need to start with your goal and work your way backwards. I call it gamifying success. The biggest revelation wasn't even about tactics. It was about my mindset. I realized that as long as I saw myself as just a trainer, I'd be capped at just a trainer income. It wasn't until the moment where I started seeing myself as a CEO, a business owner who happens to know my shit about fitness, is when everything changed. You see, if you're an online fitness coach, you're not a trainer. You're a marketer, you're a salesman, and you're a trainer. So the best trainer in the world is not going to make as much as the best known trainer in the world, unfortunately. This shift is why I was able to scale to multiple six figures while other trainers with more experience and better physiques struggle to pay rent. I mean, think about it. I only worked at LA Fitness for a year. Yes, I had been working out for 6-7 years straight. However, I also went to jail, made a lot of mistakes in my life, and never trained anyone hands-on before I became an online fitness coach. I mean, let me take that back. I trained a few people, but in comparison to trainers who have been trainers for 10, 20 years, decades of experience, who have decades of clients, I mean, listen, why are they not making as much as me? And if you're someone who can relate to me, maybe you're a personal trainer at a local gym looking to do big things with your life, or maybe you're already in the online fitness coaching space looking to take your business to the next level, but your strategies just aren't getting you there. I want to share with you how you can do the same exact thing. The path to building a $1 million fitness business comes down to implementing these 3 core systems: a premium business model, a content system that converts, and a sales process that works. You see, most trainers try to figure all of this out on their own and waste years in the process. I know, because I tried that route at first and it didn't work. The turning point for me was investing in the right guidance. And it wasn't investing just once, but it was investing twice, 3 times, 4 times. I can't even count how many mentorships, coaches, consultants, whatever you want to call it, I've invested into at this point. And honestly, most of them were pretty good, which kind of drives me crazy. There's so many skeptical people out there. And yes, it's valid. There's definitely some shit out there that's bullshit, but everything got me a little bit closer to where I wanted to go. Some of them got me this much further. Some of them only got me this much further, but it really all compressed years of struggle into only months of growth. So the net gains were priceless. Listen, the reason I'm making this video, it's because it's for the old me. The Eric that had no clue where to go. The Eric that was scared to start. The Eric that didn't know what to put on social media. The Eric that saw all these coaches and personal trainers winning and living this lavish lifestyle, but couldn't do it for himself. The Eric that in another timeline where I didn't invest into a mentor, where I said, nah, this can't be possible. So I hope you got some value from this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment any questions, concerns, challenges that you have below. I have so much free resources and trainings that I can send you that are more specific to your situation. And I promise you I'll do my best to get back to everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.